So thanks for everybody for coming. Michèle Campbell is here to in New Brunswick for the last 3 days. So we're very lucky to have her. I'm going to allow her to talk about the products that she wants to present. That's a new product on the market, and that is has lots of benefits for our health. So anyway, with no further ado, I'm going to let her take the stage, and she'll be able to share with you all the benefits of this product.
Okay. So should I speak in English or should I speak in French? English, okay. Well, this is great for me that I can just speak in English because in Quebec, of course, I mostly do my presentations in French, so it's really nice to be able to speak in English. So my name is Michèle Campbell, and I was introduced to Kyani a year and 1 month ago, and I've been taking personally the product since that time. So I'll start with my background. So can everybody hear me well enough? Because I know I don't speak very loud, a little soft voice, but so when I was 21 years old, I traveled to Europe, I traveled to Greece, and I had a diving accident, which left me with a brain injury, a concussion, fractured my skull, and had a frontal lobe brain injury. So probably here in Canada, had I had the accident, I would have been, how do you say that? I would have been unable to work like in a regular job. In French we say inapte au travail.
Disabled?
Yeah, I could have probably been,
Disability?
yeah, exactly. But it happened in Greece. I was 21 years old. Everybody was speaking Greek. I didn't know I was in a hospital for a few weeks. And but that's really when natural health care really became an option for me. I was always really attracted to it. Like as a child, I wanted to be vegetarian. Like I wasn't attracted to meat. And there was always like these signs that, you know, for me that I was going to live a different way than maybe my parents had. But it was really after that accident that I got into natural health care. And so I became a natural health care practitioner throughout my 20s, which only means that I studied different holistic medicines. So I became a massage therapist. I became a phytoaestheticologist, which was, I did aesthetics treatments like facials and whatnot, but only with plants, and I didn't use anything like any machines or anything like that. So I used essential oils, and just with essential oils, there was so much that could be done. And then I did orioculotherapy, reflexology, anything. Like I just kept taking courses. I had a clinic in Beresford, New Brunswick, because I'm from New Brunswick. I'm from Bathurst, and but that was when I was like in my 20s, so we're talking 30 years ago. 30 years ago, people weren't as aware about these things as now. Now there's like a coming of age where it's like really more in our consciousness to try these alternatives. So I was really like how do you call that, a groundbreaker or whatever, trailblazer or whatever. Anyway, but what really became my biggest passion in life through working with people and with health was really food. It was really nutrition. So for me, like, I don't have cable TV, I don't have Netflix, I have Food Matters TV. Like, I don't have a whole lot of time to watch it, but like if I want to relax on a Saturday night, I'm going to watch a documentary on food. And I'm gonna make myself some great food, and that's what I'm gonna do. Like, so when I sold my practice in 95, yeah. I sold my practice in 94, 95. Why? My son, I have 3 sons, and I'm also a single mom. The father of my 2 youngest children passed away, and so I've really been a full-time single mom. Like my youngest is 18 years old, and the reason I moved to the Eastern Townships is because Sasha, when he was in 2nd grade, was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. pretty severe, and dyslexia and stuff like that. And the only thing that they had to offer me was medication, that my son should be medicated. And of course, because I was in natural health care, I wanted to try alternatives. So what happened is I found a school, an alternative school in the Eastern Townships, and where he could really just be taken where he was at in life and educated from that point on. So I moved my 3 sons and myself to the Eastern Townships. I didn't know a single soul, but I was very determined. And what happened is, in that community, this alternative school, well, there was all kinds of people that thought like me, that food matters, that our food is our medicine. And so the potluck that we had here today, thank you very much, it was wonderful. Well, that's the type of food all the people that brought their kids to the school ate all of the time. So I got to learn, and I met a woman from Australia, Veronica, who became my dear, dear, dear friend. She is a chef, a world-renowned chef, who really went the alternative route, who really went into vegetarian, raw vegan food. And what her and I did at this alternative school, we created a lunch program. So I got to work with her and learn like the most amazing things. So we of course, we created really beautiful, nice lunch menus for the children. But we also, through that kitchen, we also educated women and men that wanted to learn more. So we did raw vegan courses where we would do all the shopping, and we would come and we would cook that type of way, and then we'd have a nice lunch together, and people could leave with what they cooked for their families to get them going and get them started on this type of food. I also had a catering business. I catered vegetarian food and also raw vegan food. When you have a brain injury, or a frontal lobe brain injury like I do, it's like having ADD, or it was before these products, which I'll talk about later. It was like I had ADD too. It's like very difficult to focus. Wake up some mornings in total brain fog, no reason why. Other days can be like it was more clear. Also mood swings, that was part of it too, because I had to always gauge my energy, and if there's too much stimulation with lighting or sound or anything like that, it could affect me. So the way I created my life was to have a pretty peaceful life. So I also had a meditation practice that I needed, and so I created like a big group of maybe 150 people that meditated, and I meditated really for 10 whole years. Like every day at dawn before the boys got up, I was practicing meditation, and then eating a really healthy diet, and so I was able to like get through it that way. My 3 sons ended up with ADD, so my 2 other sons as well were diagnosed, and Jordan, the person who introduced me to Kyani at 19 years old, he was the most affected. So he had also learning difficulties at school. And for us, school was really, even though it was an alternative school, it really wasn't a happy place. So my kids always needed special ed teachers and whatnot. But Jordan is my son who didn't really accept that he had ADD. So since 2nd and 3rd grade, he always spoke of, what am I going to do later, Mom? Like, it's almost like he knew that he wasn't going to be able to go to college or to university, that those weren't options for him. And so he was like concerned from a young age. And that's when I said, become an entrepreneur. Like, if you become an entrepreneur and you create your own businesses and stuff, well, then you'll be fine, because that's what I did, really. That's how I avoided my fate, which would have been disability or whatever. So I've had a really beautiful life, raised my kids in a way that I really, really loved. So last April, Jordan decided to follow 3 young men from Quebec very young, 21 and 22-year-olds. He was 19. He decided to follow them into a business venture, which I won't be speaking about here today. I'm really going to talk about the products. But when he told me he was going to follow them, I said, okay, well, what are the products? And he said, they're natural healthcare products, Mom. You're going to love them. And secretly, I was really quite concerned, because over the last 30 years, because I'm a natural healthcare practitioner, I've been introduced to so many products. And I've had a lot of people very excited to call me up and say, Michèle, you have to try these products. These are great. You're going to love them. They're going to do this. And I'd say, well, sure, send them to me or bring them to me. I'll try them. I'm open that way. So either when I would taste them, I would know that there's something not natural in them, or just by reading the ingredients, I would say this is not a natural product. So a lot of companies say that they have natural products, but they're synthetic. So for me, if it's made in a laboratory, how can it be called a natural product? It's a scientific product, but it's not, for me, a natural product. A natural product is something that grows in the earth and that comes from nature. So another thing that would often happen is that I would get products that had a lot of sugar in them. So, or companies that sweetened with aspartame and sucralose. You have an herbal company, like this billion-dollar herbal company that's, you know, all over the world, and they put sucralose in their products. And I would say, like, why does a company who's an herb company not put stevia in there? Because stevia is a plant, it's an herb, and it's so sweet, and it grows like a bad weed. It's like dandelions, like you can't stop it. I've grown it before, and it just goes. And I was thinking, like, they're not in alignment with what they're trying to do. Like, there's something, like, so anyway, all that to say that I was never able to be behind these products, these companies that I've been in. You know, Jordan says that in his lifetime, I must have been introduced to maybe 40. I'd say maybe at least 25 there, I don't know. So I was a little bit worried when he said that he was going to get involved in natural health care. So the day, like, what I've been doing the last 5 years, I forgot to mention, was I was running a daycare from home. Why? Because when my boys were teenagers, and because I'm a single mom, I really wanted to be present, so I found a way to do both, to be present and work from home, and to also pursue my love and passion of natural health care. So the parents that I attracted to my daycare, they were all into the same thing that I'm into. So we had sprouts growing everywhere all year round. We had a Vitamix, a champion juicer, a garden, and most of our activities were around food. We all had our little aprons, our little chopping board, little knives that really couldn't hurt a child, but they got really used to using the real deal, and we weren't playing. We had tea time, and it was like amazing. And so the day that Jordan's starter pack starter pack came in, he was not at home. I was at home. So there's nothing that happens in a daycare without all the kids, you know, being right into it. So the guy from Federal Express gives me this big box, and they're all there with me, and I'm like, well, here it is. And they're like, c'est quoi ça, Michèle? C'est quoi ça? What's in the box? I said, well, this is Jordan's box. And they're like, okay. And like, can we open it? And I said, you're darn right we're gonna open it. And so got the thing, opened it up, and then I took out the first product, okay? I'm just gonna back up a little bit. Since I've been in natural health care, every single spring, I do a cleanse. I do it sometimes in the fall, but I've not done it every single fall. But for 30 years, I have always done a cleanse. So I've tried tons of different sorts. But the last 3 years, I just did raw vegan for as many days as I felt like it. And so I was on my 18th day of eating a raw vegan diet in abundance. So what was I eating? Fruit, vegetables, a few nuts and seeds, and 1,800 calories of that. And what happens when you eat that way is that you get mental clarity, you get vitality. You get really, really in, well, for me, the best shape ever, but it's very hard to maintain. I mean, I have a family, I have a daycare, I have social, so, you know, after 18, 19 days, I usually stop. But when Jordan's box came in, I was on my 18th day of eating that way. And so I was already like in a really good mood. And but anyway, so I opened the box and I found, I took out the first product and I read the ingredients. And you know when you have little goosebumps and everything? Well, that was happening. And just intuitively, I was just, even by the name, I was going, something is happening. So I look at the ingredients and it's just food. It's all coming from food and superfoods, which 15 of those ingredients were already in my cupboards, and that's what I had been eating. So I was like, aha, look at the other 2 products. What's amazing with Kyani is that there's just 3 products for optimum health. It's not like a catalog full of products or to learn and to take. It's very, very, very simple. So I called my son and I said, you guys are amazing. I said, these products are going to make such a difference in so many people's lives. And that was last April. And I have so many testimonials. We have helped so many people change their lives with these products. And not only with physical health, but with mental health. And that blows me away. Like I still can't, like it even sometimes gets me all teared up because in naturopathy and natural health care, we could help people with mental health a little bit, but we couldn't really do what Kyani's doing. So we've helped people with depression, with bipolar disorder, with anxiety, with ADD, with all kinds of stuff. And as I go through the products, I'll be able to talk to you about that a little bit more. So, does everybody here, when I say superfoods, does everybody here know what I mean by superfoods? Yeah? Because, okay, well, for me, well, it's not for me, so like the last 15, 16 years, there's a list. There's a list of superfoods. Some people have written books on them. They are the foods that grow on this earth that have the highest nutritional value for a human being. And that list has been changing. There's like the top 20. So maybe 10 years ago, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the graines de lin, how do you say that in English?
Flaxseed.
Flax seeds. Flax seeds, flax seeds, flax seeds. And then all of a sudden, golden flax seeds were better than the other flax seeds. And kale, the last few years, kale, and it's true. I mean, kale is really, really high in nutritional value. And so those are superfoods. They're the foods that, and often superfoods, and especially in the case of the superfoods that we're using with Kyani, they grow in the wild and naturally. They're not even like certified organic. They don't need to be. They're more than certified organic. They grow where God put them, where they've been growing for thousands and thousands of years. So that's like superfoods. So I had been using superfoods, and I'll tell you why. So I started with telling you about my brain injury. But even though I had a pretty good diet, and like one of the things I loved about being in the Eastern Townships when I first arrived is that you could buy directly from the farms, organic farms. So I was buying fruits and vegetables directly and stuff like that. But even though I was having a pretty good diet, at 42 years old, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. My friends had to come to my house and take me out of my bed because there was no circulation. I mean, there was just, I was inflamed everywhere. There was not a joint that did not hurt on my body, and to the point that I was in a real crisis. So they took me to the hospital, and I was seen quite quickly, because in Quebec normally it's at least a 12-hour wait, but that time for some reason it was faster, and they said, Mrs. Campbell, you have rheumatoid arthritis. And I was like in quite a state, and they said, no problem, there's medication for that. And it was going against, you know, I did not want to try, I didn't want to take the medication. So what I did is I went home and I fasted with just water for 3 days. 50% of the inflammation went away. After that, I took out everything that was acidic in my house. Like I took a, well, my friends helped me, but I stopped everything like meat, wine, coffee, wheat, dairy, sugar. Anyway, everything I took out. And what did I eat? Well, I ate pretty much raw vegan. And I did that for about 42 days before I went to see the rheumatologue for a second time and second test. And it was gone. I had no longer a diagnostic of rheumatoid arthritis. I didn't continue eating strictly that diet. I kind of like after, you know, I did it for a while, but then I slowly started to socialize and eat what, you know, most people eat. Since that time, 2 or 3 times a year, I would get like inflamed and I could feel it coming and I could get sore joints and I would just stop everything again. And then I was able to keep it under control. So since taking the Kyani products, I eat pretty much what I want and I've had 0 inflammation in a year and a month. So that's pretty amazing for me. So anyway, Jordan brought the products to my life last April, and I've been taking the products ever since. So Kyani, what does Kyani mean? Kyani is an Inuit word that means strong medicine. And one of our founding families went to Alaska for an expedition, and they met up with a couple of scientists. And those scientists were studying the Inuits that are called the Tlinkits. It's the Tlingit tribe. And they were studying them because in their tribe, they have 80, in their language, should I say, they have 80 words for snow, to describe snow, but they have 0 words for cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, ADD, anxiety. They don't have those words because they don't have those diseases. And during my studies, because I've really, 30 years read up on everything. One of my passions was really longevity. Like, how come there's people on earth that don't have the diseases that we have, and they are full of vitality, and they live 100, 105, 110 years old, and they die from old age. Like, there's people in Okinawa, Japan, there's people in Nepal, in Tibet, in South America, that this happens. Well, there's also the Tlinkits in Alaska. Well, what's the commonality? What do they all have? Well, first of all, they live in very remote areas. So, less pollution, cleaner air, cleaner water. So that is one thing. But the next thing is really important too. They don't have supermarkets. They don't have stores like we have. They don't have the Atlantic Superstore or Costco or Walmart or whatever grocery store that we have. So they're not eating, like, when you go in the grocery store, we say stay in the outer aisles because you got your produce and you got your fish and but all those middle aisles are food-like products. If you really start to look at labels, they're not even food. And my parents, my mom is a real health-conscious person. She takes Kyani all the time. She's in amazing health. But she did her best. But when I was a kid, I ate a grilled cheese and I ate Cheese Whiz, and sometimes there was Jell-O with fruit in it, and there was all kinds of stuff like that. But if you really stop to think about it, they're not foods. Take a piece of sliced cheese, put it outside on the lawn on a hot summer day, and I'm telling you, there's not one little ant that'll even go near it. It's plastic. I know it's sad to say, but it's going to stay there. It's like not even going to decompose. That's some of the things that we eat, and that's some of the things that those people have never eaten. So they were looking at, okay, so they don't eat those same things, but what are they eating? Because this has a lot to do with it. So what do they eat? Well, they eat really close to nature. They eat what grows there, and they eat things that grow in the wild. So a lot of berries, raspberries, little wild strawberries, blackberries, cranberries, but mainly the wild Alaskan blueberry. The wild Alaskan blueberry has grown there for thousands and thousands of years in Alaska. It survived Alaska. So what happened to it? The pigment of its skin became really, really, really thick. The skin became really, really thick, but the pigmentation is really, really potent. They've called it the king of fruits. It is more antioxidant than any other fruit or vegetable going, the wild Alaskan blueberry. And of course, I know in New Brunswick there's wild blueberries. Like, eat those. When they come out, eat those blueberries and in abundance. Eat as many as you can because they're very high in antioxidants too. So they were looking at, okay, so they eat the berries, but what else do they eat? Well, they eat fish, cold ocean water fish that is nourished by krill, which is the small little shrimps at the bottom of the ocean. That's what they eat, and so they have less, well, they don't have any mercury, they're not polluted, and they have high omega-3 oils. So based on those findings, one of the founding families wanted to really work in alignment with these scientists, and they said, let's create a product, let's find other superfoods, and let's create something together. And so that was in the early 2000s, and in 2007, they worked for a couple of years with Dr. Q-Tab. He's amazing. He's the one that really created the Triangle of Health. If ever you want to just go see what this man has done, it's amazing. He has taught 48,000 physicians, doctors. He's trying to teach them how pharmacology is good, but that if you can use plants first, well, maybe that's better. And he has a doctorate degree in Ayurvedic medicine, in chiropractic medicine, acupuncture, but he's also a medical doctor. And I'm sure he doesn't have a wife and kids, because we're able as distributors to be friends with him on Facebook. And anytime I have a question about anything, I can ask him, and I mean, he's there. He answers my question quite quickly. So I'm going to go through the products now. So I think I lost my train of thought, but I think I could talk about the products now. Yeah. Anyway, I'll start with the Kyani Sunrise. So, well, first I'll say what Dr. Q-Tab says. The Kyani Health Triangle maintains, defends, and repairs every cell in the body. The sum of the three products is more important than one product itself. So, like I said before, it's really just three products. The first one is the Kyani Sunrise. I'm remembering what I wanted to say, but I'm going to tie it into this product. Okay, so it's the Kyani Sunrise, which you can get in the bottle, and it's 1 ounce every morning, or you could have it in a little sachet, so also 1 ounce in the morning. What is in Kyani Sunrise? Well, it's mainly the wild Alaskan blueberry, but it's also 22 other super fruits and vegetables. What I found amazing when I saw this, and it was like, when I first opened that box and I looked at the products, I went, there is intelligence behind this company. It's amazing. Like, finally, there's somebody that really, really understands. So when we look at this, I know it's hard to see, but do you see like the rainbow colors on the top? Okay, and what does it say? A complete nutritional spectrum. That in naturopathy and in healthcare is like the most important thing. When we say to people, put color into your plate, that's really, really important, because remember a while ago I talked about the blueberries' pigmentation? That's where antioxidants are, in the skins, in the pigment, in the color. And most people don't understand that, but Kyani did. They went all over the world and they found all the other berries and roots and green leafy vegetables, and they put them in one product. So what we have is we have nutrients from every single color, and so we're respecting the full spectrum. That makes a huge difference. I really believe that we have some of our ailments because we're missing a certain category of nutrients in our diet. But by taking Kyani Sunrise, it's all there, and it really doesn't take months and months and months to feel a difference. It sometimes takes a matter of days, because we're like a plant. We're organic. Ever see a plant that's lacking water? It's all limp and it's not feeling so good. Put a little bit of water. It doesn't take a month for it to come back to life. It takes almost before our eyes. It just gets back to life. Well, we're like that too. So give the body all the nutrients it needs to repair, defend, and maintain every cell in the body, and that's what happens. And so what people say after just taking a few days of Kyani Sunrise is like, especially women my age, they're like, I feel so calm. I sleep, I have more energy, I have more vitality, I feel happier. Well, yeah, because you're nourished, you're finally getting what you need, and it doesn't, take so much time to feel the benefits. So, did you guys know that since the 1950s, there's been 200 chemicals added to our food chain? 200 chemicals. I thought it was more, but because of Food Matters TV, I got the right statistic there. You can always go check it out. But 200 chemicals that are in our food chain and that are in us, because we're eating what the grocery stores are providing, and so we deal with that. What happens when these chemicals are in us? Well, it changes our hormonal system. It changes our chemical system in our brain. It changes a lot of things. That's why we have allergies, and we have asthma, and we have ADD, and we have anxiety, and we have all this, because those chemicals are interfering with our vitality and how we're supposed to feel. So this next example that I'm going to use is that 1 ounce of Kyani Sunrise. Today, if we were going to eat a healthy diet of fruits and vegetables, and we wanted to get the same nutritional value, this is what we would have to eat, which is a mountain of fruits and vegetables. Why? Because 1 apple in the 1950s, today, to get the same nutritional value, we would need 20. I know it's sad, I know it's not fun, but that's really, really, really true. What I love about Kyani is scientific. Anything that I'm saying that you guys might not be too sure about, you can go and you can read up on it, and the science is there to back it. I not only read up on all the science that Kyani had to offer, I went and did my studies on the side, and I found so many amazing scientific discoveries just on that. So obviously the Clinkets, they don't have that problem because they're not dealing with all those chemicals in their systems. But we would have to eat, if we were wanting to get the same nutrients in our systems, we would have to eat 8 apples, 96 cups of kidney beans, 7 cups of green peas, 46 cups of kale, which I was trying to do. With my Vitamix, and when I was trying to heal myself from rheumatoid arthritis, and my boys know, as they ate green stuff all the time, I would buy 3 kales a week. I would buy 6 of the big mixed lettuces. I was really eating a lot of this stuff, but I could never come to the balance that I feel today, even though I was really putting in a good try at it. So 61 cups of avocados, 23 cups of carrots, 80 ounces of sardines, 14 cups of Swiss chard, 173 cups of winter squash, 8 ounces of soya milk, 1 cup of bran flakes, 8 ounces of Alaskan salmon, 1 cup of beets, 100 mushrooms, plus an additional 50 milligrams of trace minerals. So it's virtually impossible, even if we're eating 5 fruit and 5 vegetables a day, to get what we need. And like, if we're cooking the vegetables, well, we're already losing a whole bunch of nutrients by cooking them. And if they're not organic, we're dealing with more chemicals. And so with Kyani Sunrise, we're sure that we're getting everything we need in a day. Yes?
Is that just in the 1 ounce that you take?
Yeah.
All that stuff is in 1 ounce?
Well, what I just mentioned is not in the Kyani. What I mentioned is what we would need to eat to get the equivalent. Because what's in Kyani, it's just fruit and vegetables, raw fruit and vegetables, mostly in the wild. Of course, broccoli, they're cultivating the broccoli because it doesn't grow in the wild. But that's mostly what's in the Kyani Sunrise. So, as I said a while ago, the king of fruits, the wild Alaskan blueberry, has grown in the demanding mountainous environment of Alaska. Because of these harsh conditions, this remarkable superfruit evolved to contain a high concentration of anthocyanin in the berry's rich pigmented skin, boosting survivability. So it's the premier antioxidant. So 9 reasons, and there's way more, but I'm going to mention to you 9 reasons to drink Kyani Sunrise. While it definitely helps to boost energy. So it supports cognitive function. Like my whole family, with my brain injury and my son's ADD, like that's gone. Like I don't no longer have what I mentioned before. Like I can concentrate, I can focus, I don't need a nap every afternoon. I have mental clarity like never before. There is no way before that I would have even risked trying to tell anybody, trying to speak for an hour because I wouldn't have been able to concentrate. So it's really, really changed. I had 2 of my sons who had to take medication. They're off of their medication. They no longer have to deal with all the side effects of their medication. They're able to just, do really, really well with the Kyani. I've helped people who are depressed, but I also help people who have drug addictions, alcoholics, people who smoke. When you start giving your body the nutrients it needs, well, you start to feel balanced. So you're no longer rushing to get the craving, to get the food, the sugary foods or the salty foods or the cigarette it really, really helps balance all of that out too. It increases cellular support. It enables effective stress management. Who doesn't have stress? Like we're dealing with stress all the time. And there's a lot of B vitamins, and what does that do? It really, really calms the nervous system. It's amazing. Supports the immune system, encourages healthy digestion. All the people that I know who have things like irritable bowel syndrome, celiac, Crohn's disease, all the intestinal diseases, Kyani Sunrise is hydrosoluble. It's soluble in water. It's like pre-digested, so they can just absorb the nutrients and they don't have to deal with all the fiber, because a lot of people that have those intestinal problems, they can't eat a lot of fruit and vegetables because there's too much fiber, but they can take Kyani Sunrise. Maintains heart health, normalizes blood sugar levels. That's really an important factor. I mean, when you can normalize blood sugar levels, that's so important for good health. So imagine if oftentimes what happens, we eat breakfast and our sugar goes up. 2 hours later, 3 hours later, bang, our sugar goes down. We crave something else, we go get it, it goes up, it goes down. And that's also a big cause of insomnia, is that we're used to going up and down. But with Kyani, blood sugar levels are completely stabilized. It's not a weight loss product, but I have so many people that lost weight with Kyani because they no longer crave anything. And they say we don't have to change our diet. But when you start doing Kyani, and there's a lot of us here that are on Kyani, you just want to eat healthier. You're just attracted because, as I was saying, we're like plants. Start giving yourself what you need. Start really feeling true vitality and true good mental clarity and health. Well, you're just going to start wanting to eat that apple or grab a banana. Like I went to a dépanner yesterday. I went to 3, and there were no fruit and vegetables. I finally went to the 3rd one for something else, and there were bananas, and I was like, yay, bananas! And everybody kind of looked at me like, you know, the perfect fast food. Like, you know, fast food, fruits and vegetables, so easy. Like, and even though like I've been cooking most of my life, that cooking was my passion, since I've been involved in Kyani, I don't have time to cook, and I don't have time to sprout. I closed my daycare to do this full time in March. But you know what? I have this huge basket of fruit on my table, and in the fridge there's all these organic vegetables. And like my boys are like, where's the food? I said, it's right there. So they're eating more. Like, we'll just get some hummus out, and we'll just take some carrots and just wash them because they're organic, and we just dip it and eat it. Like, we're no longer like so concerned about having a full meal, but we're healthier than we've ever been because we're eating things right from the source. Promotes joint flexibility. The 3 Kyani products are anti-inflammatory. When you can bring down inflammation in the body, you're doing it, and it's amazing prevention. But if you already have a disease, and 90% of diseases are caused by inflammation. So just the fact that you're taking products that take away the inflammation, well, you're doing it a lot of good. Kyani products have a 30-day money-back guarantee. I've never used it. I have over 1,000 people in the last year who have been on the Kyani products, just in my and my son's team, and we've never had anybody send it back. Most people will feel the difference. Well, most people, 80% of people will feel the difference within 7 days of taking Kyani products. It might be subtle. It might just be like I feel more relaxed, I feel in a better mood, I have more energy. Or it could be like people who walk with a cane no longer need the cane, people that, he was telling me, someone was telling me yesterday that a woman who could no longer bend her knees, who could no longer walk, is running after 24 hours. So we have these incredible testimonials, but we also have people that it's just kind of like, I kind of feel something. We really, really want to say that to really get the full benefit of Kyani, it's 3 months to really get the full benefit of the products. But 7 days is really, I recommend everybody to try it and to see what it does. So that's for the first product, so Kyani Sunrise, taken in the morning. The second product is Kyani Sunset. So what's in the sunset? It's all your liposoluble ingredients. So hydrosoluble means soluble in water, and liposoluble, soluble in fat. Even though for 30 years I was taking natural products and taking care of my health and my family's health, we always took our omegas in the morning, omega-3s. And it was only through Kyani that I learned the importance of taking it in the evening. And since we made just that simple change, that changed a lot of things for us. So we take Sunset in the evening, normally before supper. What's in there? It's a gellule that isn't even made of gelatin. It's made of fish, and within the gellule is omega-3s coming from the wild Alaskan salmon, the highest form of omega-3s going. It's got tocotrienols, which is the purest form of vitamin E that they were able to find on Earth. There is a doctor, a scientist on Kyani's advisory board who discovered tocotrienols in the Amazon. He was on an expedition, he was just there for fun. He saw a plant and he said, that plant, it has something. I know it has something. Intuitively, he said, bring that into my lab. He's the man that discovered tocotrienols. Just Google tocotrienols, go on PubMed. There's over 100,000 documents, scientific white papers just on tocotrienols. So every product with Kyani, it has something incredible. It also has the vitamin D and it has beta carotene. We take Kyani in the evening. We know that omegas are really good for cardiovascular health. Oh, that's the wrong pamphlet. We know that they're really good for cardiovascular health, and we also know that it's a brain food. The wild Alaskan blueberry is also a brain food. So that's why we're having so many results with people on, getting those connections. The neurotransmitters get to connect, and just get out my pamphlet.
You looking for a sunset?
Oh, there, I put it on the table. So, the reasons to take Kyani Sunset, well, it supports cardiovascular health, it helps reduce inflammation, it encourages healthier skin and hair, it helps maintain healthy cholesterol levels, it helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels, supports cognitive function, supports cell membranes, it's the most potent vitamin E, and it promotes a healthy immune response. I had a little girl at my daycare, Ev, who actually I took into my daycare. She was living in a foster home. She had attachment problems. She had severe ADD with hyperactivity, and she was really suffering a lot. So I asked her mother, I said, could I just try this experiment? I've just gotten involved with these products, and could we give her the Omega product, the Sunset product, several times a day? She said, sure. So here Ev and I tried. We tried to get her to swallow the thing, and we tried for days. Anyway, she wasn't able to swallow the little thing, the little capsule, but I eventually decided, well, I was going to cut it and I was going to put it in a smoothie. Well, there's so much pigmentation and there's so much, it was unbelievable. I cut it, my cutting board is still orange. My hands were orange. I mean, the color was like amazing. So anyway, then I got a little brighter there the next day. I just threw the whole thing in my Vitamix and I put it in her smoothie. Ev was not able, like we always started our day sitting at the table and doing drawings. And I have kids that could sit there with me an hour and we just would draw. Ev would come in and I just asked that both sides of the paper be full, like no more white. And she'd come in there and she'd just like 1, 2, and then she'd be off. After just one day of taking just the omegas, we didn't even try the sunrise, she was sitting there talking to the other people, drawing, enjoying herself, and we were like, oh my goodness. So there is on the internet, on YouTube, you can find a study done by Oxford University and Sunset. And what they did, they took ADHD kids, they showed them before what they were like, they showed what their schoolwork was like, and then they showed what it was like after. And you see them every morning, they're giving them a sunset, and 5, 6 hours later, they're giving them another one. They were taking maybe 4 or 5 a day, and everything started to become balanced. They started to focus, and they started to be able to study. So it's really nice to go and look at that. So the third product is the Nitro product. It is, like, for me, was what kept me awake at night. Even though I was taking the products, like when I would wake up, I started to think about this product, and it was really, really amazing. In 1998, 3 scientists won a Nobel Peace Prize for the discovery of nitric oxide in the body. Nitric oxide is a gas. Nitric oxide is present from conception to death. You cannot live 3 seconds without nitric oxide. You can live 5 minutes without oxygen, or maybe a little less, or you'll be in trouble. But just to say the importance of it, what was their discovery? They discovered it was a signaling molecule, and it was a vasodilator. Since then, since 1998, there's been thousands and thousands, even 150,000 scientific journals written on the subject. It was called the molecule of life. There is not a cell in the body, there is not anything that isn't affected by nitric oxide. So nitric oxide, we all have that gas, we all create it. Until we're 25, mostly everybody creates enough of it. After 25, it starts to slow down. That's where the aging starts to happen. Somebody who has a major disease, arthritis or diabetes or anything, what we know is that they're not creating enough nitric oxide naturally. So there are plants, there are foods that naturally increase nitric oxide in the body. Green leafy vegetables are some of it. So in our 3 products, we have components that increase nitric oxide in our system. But the plant in the world that they found to increase it the most is the noni plant. And that's what Kyani has. It has the nitro effects, which is the noni plant. Noni is a fruit that grows on a shrub that grows in Asia, French Polynesia, the Caribbean, and Hawaii. The fruit, it doesn't taste very good. So mostly it's rotting away. But people from those places, they know that they know the potency of that fruit, and they know what it can do. So it's an anti-fungicide, it's an antibacteria. So whenever anybody has anything like athlete's foot or eczema or psoriasis or a cold sore or anything like that, they just treat it directly with the noni plant, and it doesn't take long. It's within, hours, those things are gone. But the way that Kyani Nitro is used in our Triangle of Health is that we take a little squirt of the nitro. Well, it's empty, but anyway, you take, the first thing you do in the morning is that you take about 20 drops of this under the tongue, okay? What does it do? So it's a vasodilator. It dilates all of the veins and the vessels and the arteries. We have 30,000 miles of those in our body. Like, that's incredible. But a lot of times we don't have, this vitality and this perfect health because that's not working so great. So imagine, you take the noni, which increases nitric oxide. What happens? It increases blood flow. It increases circulation. It oxygenates the cells, the brain, and everything. And then once you've done that, you top it up with 1 ounce of superfoods. Those superfoods are transported where they need to go in your arterial tree, where you need to defend, maintain the cells, that's where it goes. And actually, some of us feel that in the first few days. Like when I first started taking the products, right away I noticed that my breathing changed. My breathing opened up. And every single day I get a kick out of just taking a moment and checking up on my breathing, because it's the most expansive breathing that you could ever imagine. I don't know if any of you other people that take Kyani feel it, but it's like amazing what it does. So we have people, I have a nurse who came into Kyani as a representative, but she was afraid of the nitric oxide because she knew it was a vasodilator, and she's a severe asthmatic. She spent months in the hospital with her mom when she was a kid. So she's not only severe asthmatic with 2 pumps, she also is allergic to mites, and she also has eczema on her feet. That all kind of goes together. She's only 21 years old, and she was a little bit worried about taking the nitro, but I said, you need to just go for it. But she started taking the nitro last October. She has not had 1 episode of asthma. Not 1. She doesn't take her pumps, and when she goes to the pharmacy, the pharmacists try to say, hey, you haven't, you're out of pumps. They're trying to sell her pumps, and she's like, I don't need my pumps anymore. Like nitric oxide really makes a huge, huge, huge difference with people with allergies and asthma. So I think the most important thing about nitric oxide is that it helps us absorb the nutrients. So even if we're eating really, really healthy and taking supplements and if we're not absorbing it, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not making a difference. And I had a friend of mine who was involved in another company, and she was selling really good healthcare products, but they were synthetic. And later on in life, she changed her career to, she became a colon irrigationalist, or I don't know how to say that word, but where she helps people go and see her, and she does a cleanse, a colon cleanse. And she shared with me that for certain people, she actually saw the whole capsules, the whole pills coming out. Like nothing had been absorbed. So basically, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars down the drain. And they didn't know it. So if you want to know if what you're taking is absorbable, take a glass of water, put the pill in there. If it doesn't, within moments, start to dissolve, your body's not going to dissolve it. It's just like that. So, so the reasons to take Kyani Nitro, it promotes increased energy, but it's not a stimulant. It's not like drinking coffee. It's not like drinking an energy drink. It's not like you're going to be hanging off the chandelier or anything like that. It's really like, for me, how I noticed it is that one time I was in New Brunswick, and I'd been presenting, and the people were really interested, and they were asking questions, and I just sat there, I answered, but then when it was time to go, it was like 9:30 at night, and I had to work at 7 o'clock in the morning in Sherbrooke. My daycare was going to open. I just took the nitro, I drove 4 hours, I stopped, I gassed up, took more nitro, and I drove home. When I got home, I went to sleep. 2 hours later, I woke up, I worked my whole day, and I went to bed at 10 o'clock at night. And then I went, yeah, something is really not like before. That was last May. So I've been on the products for only like 5 or 6 weeks. So really, they can sustain you that way. So the reasons to take Nitro, Kyani Nitro, it promotes increased energy, it increases blood flow, it helps improve circulation, it helps reduce inflammation, it encourages heart health, it improves sexual function, and I'll just talk about that for a minute, because a few months ago, I was still researching, because that's what I like to do, and I was looking up the 3 scientists that discovered that discovered nitric oxide, and I read that they had a fight. They really didn't, they parted ways, like they discovered it in 1998, and not long after that, they were no longer partners because 2 of them really wanted to go the money way. They wanted to, and the other one was more like for health. So the 2 that went the money way, they're the 2 scientists that discovered Viagra, or that created Viagra. What is Viagra? It's synthetic nitric oxide. What does nitric oxide do? It encourages blood flow, it encourages circulation, but Viagra is not a healthy medication for anyone. It's really bad and hard on the heart. But if you can take it naturally, increase it naturally, all those things will happen naturally. So much better for health. It supports cognitive function, it sustains the immune system, and it improves nutrient absorption. So we have only 3 products, but we have 2 kinds of actually 3 kinds of nitro. We have the Nitro FX, which is just the noni plant. It's a proprietary blend. They took the stem, the leaves, the fruit, and they made a blend, and that's the Nitro FX. But the Nitro Extreme, they added 5 components to it. They added magnesium, CoQ10, niacin, zinc, and chromium. And what all those do is they really help a lot with the immune system and the metabolism. I take Nitro Extreme. People who work really long hours, people who are maybe like a trucker or somebody that works in a seasonal job where they have to work big hours, somebody who has a health problem can really benefit from taking the extreme. Most people my age really benefit from taking the extreme. So, and then we have a third product, which is the nitro powder, and it's a combination of the ingredients in the nitro, a little bit of the ingredients in the sunrise, and beet juice. It's a powder that you shake with water, and you drink it. It's recommended, very recommended for athletes as a pre-workout. It increases strength and endurance 30%. A few weeks ago, I went to my computer, it was a Monday, and I found out that day that the NFL has accepted Kyani products, and that doesn't happen every day. I had 2 footballers on my team in Kyani, and they were with the Valley Arts in Sherbrooke, a university team, and all summer they were taking Kyani products and they were doing great. Then football season started, and they stopped taking the products, and I was like, you guys are crazy. You need to take these products. Imagine you're going to protect your muscles and you're going to repair better and and they said, Michèle, we're not allowed. We sign a contract saying we can't. And I said, yeah, but it's all natural. It's food. They said, we can't. And I remember thinking that they weren't telling me the truth. But I went and met the coach at Bishop's University, and he took the products for himself, but he said, I can't give it to my team, Michèle. It's true what they're saying. We can't do it because there's this association. I said, write those down. So I went home and I looked, and it was true. Because they are very, very, very strict. So 3 weeks ago, when I found out the NFL had accepted Kyani products, and we have so many athletes from the NFL on the products, other Olympic athletes, because it really helps them have an advantage, but it also helps them pre-workout and after workout. An athlete will take the nitro before, and after he can have a sunrise just to nourish the system back up again. So pretty amazing. I could go on and on and on, but I think I'm going to take a break. I'd like to have a few people that are taking Kyani products to share what it's done for them. Yeah. Yeah, Lita. Come on over. You can stand up too.
Hi, my name is Lita, and I've been taking the product for about a month and a half, almost 2 months now. And before I had started taking the product, I was on a crazy health journey myself. I had was going to college for about 2.5 years. I was extremely, in extreme poverty. I have 2 children, so my schedule was basically go to school during the day, come home for a couple hours to cook, clean, be a mom. I would then go to work until 11 at night, and then I'd stay up all night with my 1-year-old who had digestion problems, and so he would be up all night screaming, crying. So I'd have to deal with that at night. So I'd be getting 3 hours of sleep a night and eating food bank food.
Oh.
And so that was my lifestyle, and I've also subscribed to Food Matters too, so we'll talk more about that. For me, I also have I have anxiety, panic disorder. I have ADHD. I have a screw in my hip that when I was about 10 years old, it's a really long word I can never remember how to pronounce, but my joint in my hip completely deteriorated. So I had to have a screw put in my hip when I was about 10. So for me, my whole life has been extreme pain. I couldn't barely walk up and down stairs. If I sat down too long, standing up, I'd be walking like this all the time. But I powered through it because I have children. So I just, kind of tried to pretend like it wasn't there anymore. I was also hit by a car when I was 13, so I broke my collarbone, and that didn't heal properly. So that was a lot of pain as well. And honestly, I struggled with extreme panic and anxiety every day, and it got worse if I wasn't sleeping properly. So it was pretty hard. But so it was around my last week of school, I was like, yes, I'm finally there. I've dealt with horrible pregnancy, extreme poverty. I was finishing school, and I went into a 2-week-long panic attack. I don't know if anyone's ever had one before, but it is you're observing your existence in this world, and it's scary. You're not existing, you're observing it, and it is horrifying. And so I was completely distorted and not making any sense, and and I still had to be a mother. So I basically went back to the very beginning of how to be able to take care of yourself. I just drank water, filtered water. I had cut up a plate of fruits and vegetables and nuts, and just ate that as much as I could. And I took niacin and vitamin C, vitamin D, and that was my emotions every single day. And I was trying to involve my kids in it, so I seemed somewhat normal to them. And so then I kind of got to a point where I was able to function enough to go back to school and finish that last week of school. And it was the craziest experience going back there and trying to exist normally, but it was starting to work properly. And then I continued that lifestyle afterwards. I've lost 70 pounds. I was clearer and stuff like that, but I was still experiencing a lot of pain. I still had anxiety, panic every day, but not as bad. And then OB, he's not here right now, but who introduced me to the product. As soon as I seen it, I was ecstatic. I looked at the back of it because I was excited because he told me I'm doing this new healthcare product and stuff like that. And I'm awesome, I'd love to check it out, but I'm not going to support anything unless I know for sure it's organic, it's natural. Because there's lots of products that can put the word natural on it, even though they're not. And so as soon as I seen it, I was ecstatic. I couldn't wait to try it. And he gave me a 7-day pack. And I remember the first day I had taken it. I didn't really realize at first, but I had absolutely no pain whatsoever in my body. I noticed when I was sitting there for about 10 minutes, because if I sat down for too long, I couldn't stand up properly. I just popped up, and I started walking, and and then I realized, oh my gosh, I have no pain in my body. And I usually have gut-wrenching anxiety all day about everything, just waking up, it's oh my gosh, I'm awake. What is gonna happen today? Oh my gosh, what is in my food? What am I eating? Panicking about everything. And I've had absolutely no anxiety, no panic attacks. I have no pain in my shoulder. I have extreme ADHD. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Big Comfy Couch, but her was saying who made this big mess? That was me every day, and I was the one who made the big mess. I have 2 children, and I would like to blame it on them, but it was me every day. There'd be things from the bathroom and the kitchen. I'm how did this end up here? And I'm always unorganized. You'd look through my school books. My teacher was amazed with me because I would be sitting in class, she'd be doing a thing, and I'd be completely not there, but then I'd get hundreds on my exam. And my books were just pages of things from weeks ago, and it didn't make any sense. But and now I'm I still have it, but my thoughts are more calculated, they're more organized. I actually know what I'm doing every day. I'm not how did I end up here? And so that's how, and also I realized how much it was helping me and my daughter. She's 7 years old. She has ADHD, and she, since kindergarten, she has not progressed in school whatsoever. She was still reading at a kindergarten level. Her math is still at a kindergarten level. Her writing, she every report card, it would always be below average achievement. And which was, she's very, very positive, and I think it's because I'm very positive, but, she's extremely good in athletics and whatnot, but for school, for her, it was just always she's always just upset and, about having to do her schoolwork, but I started giving it to her, and within 3 days, I remember I was sitting in the dentist's office, I had to bring her to the dentist, and her teacher calls me, ecstatic, and I'm and she's I just put me in this new reading program, and she's been in many reading programs, so I'm I knew exactly what was going on, but she's I put me in a new reading program, and she's gone up 4 reading levels. Wow. Her math, she's able to sit there and do a whole sheet of math, real quick. She actually did it faster than anyone in her class. She's able to write. She's able to sit there and focus in class, and even in her athletics, which she was already extremely good in, she's not like the fastest one in the class. And I'm just like, I cried. I was like,
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for her next report card. Like, it's insane. And I also give it to my infant. He's 1 year old, and he hasn't been developing as quickly as he should be, I guess. Walking and focusing, he wouldn't really repeat anything like you would say, kind of mimic and stuff. And I have a video, maybe if you guys want to see later. But on the first day, I gave it to him, and he was just like super like bright-eyed, like chatting away, like walking, like, you know, holding on to his crib, just like super energized and engaged. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, so yeah, this has been my journey with Kyani though. But thank you for listening.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Chris. Hi. I was born with cerebral palsy, so automatically I've dealt with muscle pain, bone pain, actually every type of pain there is. And it was to the point where I'd wake up at normal hours, 8, 9 in the morning, but I'd be awake till 10, 11, 12 and not out of bed because I'd have to figure out, okay, what kind of pain am I dealing with? Am I dealing with nerves today? On a day like this, when it'd be cold and damp, I'd just seize right up, kind of like a T-Rex. And these lovely ladies massaged me today when I got here. I was having back spasms, and so they can attest to how tight my muscles are all the time. And I've just, I had learned to live with it, push through, keep going, and Sage introduced me to the product, and he only had the nitro at the time. I said, you need to try this, you need to try it. So I said, okay, I've tried absolutely everything else. What harm can it do? So first thing I noticed was I've had chronic insomnia like my entire life, like from infancy. It's been an issue, and within 24 hours I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Actually, no, 5:45, and not just awake, but like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, having energy. Let's go, let's do this. And first I was like, I don't like it. What am I doing? But for every day that I tried it, it was 5:45, 6 o'clock, 6:30. And I'd have energy, and I'd jump out of bed. I didn't have to wait to see what type of pain I was dealing with. I could still just function. Like even right now, I used to have a static balance of less than a minute. I'm standing here completely talking to you guys. So there's literally a laundry list of things it's helped me with. It's cured my insomnia. I can't stay up past 10:30. That's pushing it. I'll start nodding off. But the biggest improvement for me was, I need to backtrack a little bit. I had an experimental surgery when I was about 4 or 5, along with 3 other people. It was to deal with spasticity, so the tenseness that I felt all the time, it was supposed to help combat that and make it so I can, stand with my feet flat on the floor and maybe not walk so much like a drunk pirate. So it helped with that, but because it was experimental at the time, selective dorsal rhizotomy was what it was called. I have a surgical scar all the way up my spine. Anyway, because it was experimental, we have a team of specialists that follow the 3 cases. I was for the Maritimes. There was someone from Ontario and someone out west. And they called me at the 2nd week of April, and they said, we need to talk to you right now. I said, oh, okay, probably another update, wanted to check in. And so I called them right back, and they said, we've been following you guys pretty closely, but I'm paraphrasing. We have some bad news. The case for Ontario, her bladder is failing. The case out west, his kidneys have started to shut down. And you, my dear, have both. So that was a lot to deal with, and it was just like, oh, in addition to the many things I suffer with, what am I going to do? How am I going to tell my family? What do I do? And they said, okay, we'll just basically, take some time to process. You have a month. We're going to follow up when we see your cellular levels. In May, we'll determine how we're going to help with that. So I said, okay. And at that point, I had received a 7-day trial of everything from Sage, and I had been on it like religiously. And so we got my levels back the first Friday in May, and now I don't have to wonder how I'm going to tell my parents I'm dying, because I'm not. My cellular level in just a month on the product has brought it from non-existent to triple, and I'm out of the woods. I am living proof that the rejuvenation, or everything they talked about, it's gone from, we've been talking today that it's, it'll change your life. It's a game changer. For so many people, this is going to be a lifesaver, and I'm living proof. So, thank you.
Wow. So that's always the part that, like, 'cause normally, like today we have a different, we're doing this a different way. We're talking about the products a lot, but normally we do a little part on the products, and then we do a little part on the business. In between, we have testimonials, and that's when people come up and share their stories, and they're just, that's really, really everybody's favorite part. I've been 3 times to meet the founders and Dr. Q-Tab and whatnot, and at every event, like at every convention, I spend the weekend in tears. So it's like so amazing to be involved with this, and for me, it's like I thank my son, my 19-year-old son, and his friends for having had the instincts to bring this company to Canada. We are, everybody sitting in this room, like we're the first people that really know about this, which is incredible. So it's only been launched in Canada since May 5th, 2016, and if you like, maybe now, if anybody has any questions, I could answer questions. I know some people had to leave at 3:30, and we've passed that time, but I'd be happy.
Question.
Okay.
I want to know how long, when you take the
Nitro.
how long do you have to wait till you take the sunrise or the
Okay.
sunset?
I do it right away, back to back, but I
do too.
have people who wait 5 minutes. They want to make sure that everything's flowing. You just need to feel it out. I just take it right away.
I do too in the morning.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I do. And I do the same thing at night.
I didn't know you
Okay.
had to wait till everything starts to work before you take the sunrise or the sunset.
Yeah, I don't, you need to feel it out yourself, but you could leave like 5 minutes in between. 5 minutes in between, but not more than that. Yes?
Is there a difference between the Nitro FX and the Nitro Extreme in terms of how many drops
Yeah,
you should be taking?
that's one thing I want to know.
Okay, I take, well, when I don't forget the evening one, I take 60 drops of Nitro Extreme.
Ah,
A day.
A day,
a
okay.
day.
Oh.
I take about 20 in the morning. He put me on the extreme, and I thought, what's the difference in between the nitro and the extreme? And I wasn't sure.
Yeah, well, it's those
So I
five-
just started in the extreme.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with
taking 20
know.
drops in the morning before your sunrise.
yeah.
And also about the nitro products, like when you increase nitric oxide, that's a gas. So the gas only lasts like a second.
Yeah.
The next 5 hours, you're like, it's like the fumes of that gas or whatever that you're feeling the benefits from. So you take it 5 to 6 hours after. So if you want to check out when to take it in the afternoon, you count back, when did I take it? So if it's at 6 o'clock,
Oh,
You could-
every 5 hours?
about 5 to 6 hours.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
because if not, like some people, like they just they take nitro like a few times a day, kind of like when they feel a little, they take it again. Well, it's not gonna, it's like throwing your money away. You only need to take it every 5 to 6 hours. More than that, it's not gonna change a single thing. Yes?
It's not a question, but can you mention the bioavailability of the products?
Yeah, like just the bioavailability, like everything in the sunrise, the sunset, and the nitro, it's available right away. That's part of why we get all these results so fast. Like it's pre-digested. Like just the fact that people with all these intestinal diseases can take it and they're reacting, that's really, really.
I went to my doctor on Thursday.
Okay.
I had high blood pressure, diabetes, and anyway. So
Cholesterol maybe?
cholesterol.
Yeah.
I've been on it now for about a month.
Okay.
He told me, he says, I don't know what you're doing, but he says, keep up what you're doing. He says, your blood count came down. Your blood pressure is good as a 16-year-old girl. And I said, I don't want to see myself at 16 again. I'm 72 and I don't want to go there no more. But he told me my blood pressure was really, really good and my sugar came down.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But that's what it does. So just think back to the Tlinkets that are living 100, 105 without disease. Well, what we're doing is we're repairing in the beginning. Like, if I could have felt this way when I was raising my boys all by myself and I was so tired at times, like,
yeah,
that
you
would have
get
been
that way,
amazing.
right?
And
I don't do that. I don't feel tired in the morning when I get up.
No,
I feel so energetic and everything.
And you feel like living.
Yeah.
You feel like
You do.
experiencing life. You feel like going towards people. You feel
Yeah.
like, and you know what? I know I've slowed down the aging process. I know this, and you're proof. If
Yeah.
you have
And I got my husband home sick. I have to wash him, feed him, and
you're
everything.
a caretaker
So,
of him,
yes.
oh my goodness.
And he says, I'm going to hurt you with your back or something doing me. I says, I feel so great. I says, don't worry about me.
Yes, because you have more endurance, more
Yeah,
strength.
You
more,
do.
Yes,
You do, yes.
You really do.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Because I
amazing.
have to dress him up. I have to wash him. I have to, you know.
Do everything for him.
So,
And you need to stay positive in your,
Oh, yeah.
because that's a hard thing to do. So just mentally,
right.
just to stay positive
And
in a
he needs
situation.
new replacement with knees and hips. And he's taking Kyani.
Is he?
Yes, he
I was
is.
just gonna say he's got to take care of me.
But he's not an energetic like I am.
No, but he's got other things going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
But that doesn't mean that he's not going to have.
Mm,
But it's benefiting him.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. in
And
the future-
especially for his surgery and everything else, I find, you know, it could help him
he's
in
gonna have a hip or a knee surgery.
both knees and both hips, but
Oh, wow.
not all at once. I mean, they're going to do one at a
And
time.
when are they scheduled?
One in August, and after that, I don't know. They say a matter of 6 months in between.
Because I would really, really go gung ho with the Kyani products, because we had these people, we had people in Montreal in May just share, like they were going for the hips and the knee surgery in a wheelchair and all of that. And I mean, a woman, when she started to talk, she could hardly talk. She really just wanted to cry but we all encouraged her, and she doesn't have to have knee or hip surgery. And I can show you that video. Like,
Well, he just started on it, so maybe he's got a chance too. I don't know, but I know he's
Yeah.
scheduled for one in August.
Yes.
That's a good amount of time.
And you could
Yeah.
increase his dosage, like with
Nitro.
the nitro. You don't have to increase. That's
No.
always 60 drops a day is enough for him too.
Oh,
But he could take more omegas with the sunset. He could
okay.
take more.
Oh,
Oh yes. Like my son had a concussion in June, and I mean he was taking 7-8 of those a day because it's inflammation, and he could take more. He could take 2 sunrises a day because he's in bad shape. He's not doing well, so he can take one in the morning, a sunrise, and he can take one in the afternoon, a sunrise, and he can take more. The only thing he
okay.
doesn't need more, he can't increase more nitro.
Nitro.
Once it's increased,
Well, he
it's
can only
increased.
take 40 a day, like 20 in the morning and 20 at night. I give him.
But he could add
One
20 more
at noon.
drops.
Okay.
One at noon.
Okay.
But like if you really wanted to make a difference, I know it would make a difference. Yes.
At least if it can save on the hips, I don't care the knee, but the hips. No, for no reason.
So, taking the products where they're all natural, does it interfere with any medication? If somebody's on
Yeah.
medication, is it okay if they take?
That's a
Kind of.
very good question because I have people who were on all kinds of medication.
Like
and-
thyroid?
Yeah, yeah. It's food. When I tell people who have a cocktail of medication or sometimes just one or two medications, because we're not doctors, we're not, trained to give any advice like that, I always say, let's go right now to see the pharmacist. The pharmacist takes a 7-day pack, he reads, it's food. It's basically just to reassure the person, especially elderly people, like they've been taking medication. They're scared of Kyani sometimes. They're afraid of blueberries and goji berries and all of that because they've heard so many things. But there is nothing that can interfere with the meds. I met a woman named Sylvie Flamme in Gatineau in February. She's a diabetic and she was taking insulin. She had Coumadin. She had cortisone, she had a high blood pressure pill, she had a cholesterol pill, she had a pill for an antidepressant. She had a huge cocktail. She couldn't bend her knees, she walked with a cane. She's had cancer 3 times. I mean, she smoked and she was 3 years older than me. But she looked like she was a lot older than me. And I talked to her about Kyani, and when I said that it changed the chemistry in the brain and that all the dopamine and the serotonin and the melatonin was all secreted in abundance and that we just become happy on Kyani, she said, oui, je le veux. Oui, je le veux. I went, okay. So I got her on the products. I went back to Sherbrooke. 4 days later, she calls me up and she says, oui, je le veux. J'ai dit, qu'est-ce qui se passe? She said, I want to go to Orlando. I'm going to Orlando with you. So I was last minute. I was going to the convention. She says, is there a place in your room for me? We were 4 women in the room. I said, I'll sleep on the floor. I don't care. You're coming. So when she came, within 3 days of taking the products, and we took her, getting back to your question, we went to the pharmacist with her box. He said, go for it. That's what he told her. So she just started to take it. 3 days later, she no longer had her cane. 4 days later, she went to her son's farmhouse and she ran. She said, watch this. She ran up the stairs and she ran down the stairs, and he was just in shock. He became a rep. Then she called me up. She said, yes, she wanted it. We took her to Orlando. I mean, the first morning we were like at Dorval Airport. There were hundreds of people before us. We didn't know if we were going to make our flight. Anyway, she was doing well, but just the stench, she didn't bring her cane, and I hadn't anticipated. So all those people, and for 2 hours and a half, we were in line, and I could see, like, and we weren't allowed to have water. And I could see, like, she was starting to change, and then she fell. And I was very, very worried, and then we picked her up, and we got through it. Anyway, in our room in Orlando, she was checking her insulin out every day. And it started to go down, down, down. It went from like in the 20s to 4, her blood sugar levels. She no longer takes her blood pressure is completely regularized. She no longer takes a cholesterol pill. She no longer takes an antidepressant. She no longer takes cortisone, and she hardly takes any diabetes medication. Her life, she lost weight. She has unbelievable energy, and she's like, I knew, like when she came into the business as a rep and as a customer, I just thought like she's going to have the greatest testimonial. So when we do our meetings, she's always the one that comes and talks, and there's not a dry eye in the room. But what she says, the biggest thing that happened to her is that she's no longer sad. She's happy. And at first she kept saying, the sky is bluer in Sherbrooke. She was saying, this is, like, she thought it was Sherbrooke, and I went, it's not Sherbrooke. I said, it's what you're taking. It's like when you start to have vitality and you start putting a live food in your body, well, your outlook changes. The colors are more brighter. life seems like a nicer thing because you can experience more life because you have more life in you, and it all kind of goes together. So after 1 year and 1 month on the product, I can honestly say that Kyani has just brought total balance in my life. Yeah, go ahead.
Comment une bouteille comme ça peut coûter?
Une bouteille de Kyani Sunrise. Tu veux-tu savoir le triangle de la santé tout ensemble ou juste la bouteille?
Ben, toutes les autres, là.
Parce que tout ensemble, c'est 169,95 avant les taxes, puis avant le shipping. Ça vient à peu près 7 $ par jour. OK? Moi, là, j'ai vraiment fait la paix avec ça dans ma tête parce que ça, c'est de la nourriture. OK? Ça fait moi, depuis que je prends du Kyani, j'achète beaucoup moins de toutes les choses que j'achetais. Je mange encore, il n'y a pas de problème. Je mange encore 3 repas par jour puis tout ça. Mais non seulement ça, moi, je faisais des jus. J'étais quelqu'un qui avait un juicer, puis je fais des jus. Puis j'ai pris une photo l'autre jour de mon jus. OK? J'ai pris l'ananas au complet, biologique. J'ai pris 3 limes, 4 pommes et 4 céleris avec du gingembre et du curcuma. J'ai tout coupé ça. Ça a fait un cabaret comme ça de matière pour avoir 1 litre de jus. Moins qu'1 litre. 750 mg de jus. Ça m'a coûté au moins 12 piastres et demi, si pas plus. Puis, j'ai pas eu tout le spectre nutritionnel au complet. J'ai eu du jaune en masse. Tout était vraiment jaune. C'était comme le soleil. Mais il manquait tout le reste. Avec Kyani, tu as tout ce qu'il faut pour une santé optimale. L'autre jour, il y a un monsieur qui est venu chez nous. Il voulait une donation pour la maladie du cœur. C'est mon voisin, il a 72 ou 73 ans. J'ai dit, comment ça va? Non, il dit, j'ai eu une opération, puis là, ça va pas bien, j'ai pas d'énergie, puis tout ça. Puis j'avais mes produits sur la table parce que je m'en allais. Ben, il dit, t'as plus ta garderie? J'ai dit non. Puis, tu sais, il voyait toutes les autos dans la cour, puis tout ça. Fait qu'il savait qu'il y avait quelque chose qui se passait. Puis, il dit, ben, j'aimerais ça l'essayer. J'ai dit, tiens, ben, essaye ça. Je l'ai donné un 7 jours. Il dit, comment ça coûte? J'ai dit ça, 7 piastres par jour, 168,99. Fait que là, il dit, c'est cher. Puis là, j'ai juste pogné mon gros bol de fruits. J'ai pogné 2 cantaloupes. Puis j'ai dit, ça, là, ça m'a coûté 2 pour 7 au IGA. Puis j'ai dit, ça là, c'est pas même qu'est-ce que j'ai besoin pour ma journée, là. Si je mange ces 2 cantaloupes-là, puis moi, quand je mange les cantaloupes, je mange toutes les cantaloupes. C'est pas vrai que je mange les cantaloupes. Je mange les cantaloupes. Ben, il me regardait, puis il était comme, j'ai dit, ça coûtait 7 $, puis j'ai pas tout. Fait qu'il y a une façon, c'est juste la façon qu'on a été conditionné à penser. Et c'est vrai qu'on n'est pas habitué de payer autant. Mais quand tu penses que c'est la nourriture et que c'est pour la prévention, la réparation de chaque cellule et comment on se sent, qui est comme comment on est supposé de se sentir, qui est plein de vitalité, que la vie est pétillante, les humeurs sont stables, ben là, le voyant comme ça, c'est beaucoup moins cher. Mais c'est sûr qu'il faut faire des petites pirouettes dans notre tête là, pour accepter le prix. Mais moi, j'ai complètement fait la paix avec le prix. Puis depuis ce temps-là, j'ai pas de problème à amener mes produits à n'importe qui. Si quelqu'un peut pas les payer, vraiment, je leur dis toujours, venez me voir, puis je vais vous montrer une façon assez simple que vous allez pouvoir avoir vos produits payés. Mais ça, ce côté-là, c'est plus le côté business. Il y a une façon.
I'd just like to add, I really want the products too. When Michelle told me about them, obviously when you hear that, no one doesn't want them, obviously. But myself, like financially, I didn't think I could fit it in my budget, so she showed me how that I could get them for free. So that's what I did, and all I did was just sharing the products. But what I needed to do, I wasn't having the background as Michelle, and I didn't think that I could explain the products as well as she did, because I used to be a French teacher and now I'm a hairstylist. I'm not a healthcare practitioner at all. So all I said, well, how can I say that really quick that shows the difference between these products and others? And my question about bioavailability earlier was what's different. Like I want to know what's real. Like what can I say really fast that shows how different our products are than any other things that are out there. And she said, well, just say that the bioavailability of these products are 97 to 100% compared to 20 to 30% of the other products that are on the shelves. But all that say 2.5 months later of sharing the products around just New Brunswick and a very part-time thing, I was able to pay my products, but I also got a free vehicle out of it. At first, I just wanted the products for free, but I got a free truck. So just, if you really want the products and you can't, we can definitely show you how, but it's real and it's happening to a lot of people. So, yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for putting the products in my life.
You're welcome.
So I know that we are
Yeah.
a little bit over time, so I know that for most of you I had invited, we were saying that we would be done by 3:30, so I'm sorry that we're a little bit late. So I know that Michèle, I think you're available for a little bit longer, but we're going to take maybe a 15-minute break or 20